something I'm working on recently is a library called Gray. So I don't know what this library will be, but at the moment, it's kind of a shared UI library, which I'm using in my other projects like Browser Tamer. So Browser Tamer actually looks just fine, and the UI looks really polished, and it's based on MGUI, which I'm really big fan of. It's an immediate mode user interface library used in games and so on. Really, really cool. So Gray is in really, really early stages at the moment, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it or when or how, but the idea is to be able to build user interfaces really, really quickly in one line of code with C++ or C Sharp. Well, it's mainly written in C++, of course, because as you can see here, but I'm using C Sharp a lot. And as you remember, in the old days, to create something like a quick utility, you would use Windows Forms, which was absolutely awesome. It's terrible, but really great, especially for creating something really quick and dirty. Of course, it's not cross-platform and so on and so on. And it still needs a setup, and you need IDE like Visual Studio or Rider to design the user interfaces. But Gray is really simple. So, as I said, it's written in C++. There is a demo application which I can launch, and what it's going to show me is just basic capabilities, kind of what the library can do. This is actually compiled under WSL2 in Ubuntu with CMake and Ninja, and the application is streamed via Wayland Desktop Compositor. As you can see, it's at the moment 56 FPS, and I had to limit it because it can easily go to 300 and burn all of your CPU. So it has basic controls, radios and checkboxes and links and so on, containers, groups, accordions, lists, got some notification built in, different tables and spinners, and it also demonstrates the how would you call it, a drag slider, which instantly applies the parameters I changed. This is an example of a spinner. It's got a editor for text. You can use fixed font as well, or not fixed. Oh, actually on Linux I haven't done that, so it's not working. Or a code editor. Very simple thing. Of course, this is also working in Windows, and I'm going to quickly switch to local machine, and something's going to happen, like CMake is going to rebuild the solution on Windows locally on this machine. So I can show you the demo. The demo is built in here, and we got the same demo but for Windows. It looks a bit more polished, but that's because I spent quite a bit of time tuning every single bit. Like, for instance, if it's a dark theme, it will change the header to dark. It will integrate with Windows very well. It will understand your monitor scaling. It does support themes as well, and this is built-in control as well. So you can have, let's say, light theme, which looks like this. On Windows, it will also fetch the system fonts directly from the Windows Fonts directory instead of using an embedded one. It renders the user interface using DirectX 11 on Windows and OpenGL on Linux. There's even Follow OS theme, which will detect what are your Windows settings and apply them accordingly. What else? But I think the coolest thing, especially for me at the moment, is the C# wrapper. So in C#, you can actually create the whole UI application in one file and even in one line of code. So there is a console demo, for instance, and all you need to run the application is call gray.app.run, pass the window title, and that's it. So this is just a demo. That's why it's so much code. It demonstrates every single control I have, but you don't actually need that. And of course, if I build it, it's going to start a similar demo, but this is all in C#. It's got similar look and feel. It's actually rewritten in C#, that's C++ demo, and it allows you to achieve absolutely the same thing. Quick and dirty UI. So again, this is not designed to build end user applications, but you can try to do that. I've built Browser Tamer with that. But if you want a quick and dirty utility, I think this is really good, or it will be in the future. I've already published a preview version of the package on NuGet, and essentially it can be referenced from NuGet, and you can create applications in one line of code. And this NuGet package already contains pre-built native binaries for Windows and Linux x64. Unfortunately, I can't create the macOS version because my wife has spilled wine on my MacBook. And Apple doesn't let you to virtualize their OSs. So here we go. I've also built a demo project in one of my other libraries, Stowage, which is essentially an alternative implementation of Amazon S3 and Azure Blob SDK. And this thing is using Gray to display buckets. And as you can see, the response time is absolutely crazy. So it's 100 milliseconds to render a frame. And that's including fetching the data from the online server from Amazon S3 bucket. So I'm really happy with that, to be honest. It doesn't do much, but it does things like, for instance, you can click on a file and it will fetch it and display in a data editor, displays basic information. And again, that was literally like 50 lines of code, even that. So I am planning to develop it further. Let me know what you think.